Hi, I just got back from a boot fair, and when I was walking around, obviously I'm out looking for games and stuff, and randomly I looked in a big bucket of rusty tools, and looking at the bottom was this Game Boy Advance SP. It's an AG001, unfortunately, so it's got the dimmer screen, and as you can see, it's pretty beat up. I don't think it currently works, but I managed to get it for £2, so I'm hoping I can save something from it, and I think it'd just be fun to open up, have a look at it, see if I can get something working. Like I said, it's pretty filthy and there's a lot of scratches and dirt all over it. And it's actually a bit crunchy when you open it up. There's a scratch on the screen, but the buttons actually aren't that bad. I've definitely seen worse. Opening the back up, you can see the battery is swollen and will definitely need replacing. And you can just see how grimy it is. So to open it up, there's 6 driving screws on the back. And now there's 3 Phillips screws holding the logic board. With those out, you still need to be careful as the screen's still attached to the board via a ribbon cable to a ZIF connector. So to take that out, you just slide down either side and it should just pop out. Now to get the screen out of the casing, there are 5 rubber plugs over the screws. I'd normally say be careful not to damage the casing, but this one looks a bit chewed. Once they're all out, there are 5 tri-wing screws. Then on the inside there's a Phillips screw that's just hiding under the ribbon cable. This holds on the cover over half the hinge. Now the top cover can come off and the screen can be removed. But be careful as the ribbon cable will fall through a slit in the case. Next in the base there's a metal shield over the cartridge slot. This is held in place by 2 Phillips screws. Now just unhook the spring on the L&R triggers and then they'll just slide off. And now I'll give the whole thing a good wash in soapy water, as I don't think the camera's really bringing out just how gross this is. I usually use a toothbrush to give the whole thing a good scrub. As you can see, there's a lot of dirt on it. So to clean the screen, I'll start using just a bit of window cleaner on cotton bud, just to get the majority of the dirt off, in case there's any scratchy bits. Then once all that's off, I'll use more window cleaner and a bit of cloth, just to give the whole thing a good clean. Finally, I'll give the whole board a scrub with some IPA. It's got some dirt on there, but it's actually a lot better condition than I was expecting. I tried to rip sides of the switches and move it around to just clean up the contacts. IPA is great as you really soak it and it dries quickly. So before I put it all back together, I wanted to give it a quick test. So I wedged in the battery in the back and plugged in the screen. Amazingly, it just seemed to work. I really wasn't expecting it as the guy who sold it to me was a professional seller, and I kind of thought he might have known something I didn't. So I really just bought it on the long shot that I could make a video trying to fix it. So now I'll put it all back together and I'll give it a proper test. Go through all the buttons and make sure everything's working. So now for some advice. When taking anything like this apart, there's obviously a lot of pieces and you've really got to keep track of all the little bits. I tend to use the top of my screwdriver tray as it's got little compartments in. I can put all the screws in and just keep them all in order. But in saying that, I believe I may have thrown the light pipe down the drain when I threw out the water, even though I was conscious that there might be something left in there and I thought I thoroughly checked it. That's the only thing I can think happened to it, but it is missing now. It's only aesthetic, and as you can see, you can still see the lights through it, so it's no real issue. And I'm hoping to change the case at some point, so I hope I get that when I buy a new case. So here it is. I'm still not using the original battery as it was pretty badly swollen, and I just don't want to really risk it. So I'm borrowing one from another recipe I have. I'll probably order one, they're pretty cheap. So I gave the whole thing a bit of a better test off camera, just went through all the buttons in order, just make sure they're all working, and they all seem really responsive and seem to be working brilliantly. So I'll just plug it in now, see if I can give it a quick charge. And I'll just leave it on charge now to make sure it goes all the way to fully charged. So this whole thing's been a huge success for me. I've got working Game Boy Advance SP for £2. I'll also buy a battery, so that adds to the cost a bit, but it's still a pretty amazing bargain. The case is a little grimy and scuffed still, so I might give that a spray paint at some point, but in the long term I'm probably going to buy a replacement case. It's not the video I intended to make. I thought I'd be doing a lot more debugging. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, as it really helps. Thanks for watching.